Hello, I am Nikki and I'm about to show you how to do this here viral Hobby Lobby board. But before I do that, I am going to give you some do's and don'ts, alright? So, as you can tell, it looks really, I'm really impressed. This is my first time doing it. However, I did run across some issues, so I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts so you don't make that same mistake when you're starting to do your Hobby Lobby backgrounds or backdrops for the first time. So, a must do when you start this here project, I will suggest that, and this is the back, that you take these here screws apart, because as you can tell with the screws, well, not screws but hinges still attached, it's really hard to get in the back. So I tried to do this here project still with the screws attached, and the reason why I did not take the hinges off the first time because the screws are so small. So you really need like a special screw to even take these off with, and it's not that hard to find. They have them at the Dollar Tree. Let me see if I can show you really quickly. Okay, so these are the screws I'm talking about. So you see these little tiny screws? Yeah. So I did not have a screwdriver at the time that would take that off, so this is why I did not take the boards apart. But I guarantee you the next project I do, I will be taking them off. Alright, so while I'm at the back, I also want to show you some other things. So the paper that I use is called repositional paper. This is the repositional matte paper. I do have permanent stick, but I wanted to try this here matte. My next project, a board I do, I think I am going to do the permanent stick, because as you can tell how the paper is lifting up. Alright, so I don't know how many times I press this here down and the paper still is lifting up. So if I decide to continue to use this here paper, what I'm going to do is make it just a tad bit wider so I can go fully across on the other side. Like this here is fine, but on the edges, and let me lift this up so I can show you. See if we can focus. So on the edge of the background, the backdrop, it's really rough. So the paper has nothing to stick onto. So this is why I'm going to suggest that you do make your image wider. And in the templates that I sell and print, your prints will come wider just because of that. You want to be able to wrap this here image going all the way around, okay? So that it can have something to stick to on the back. Without that something to stick to on the back, you're going to run into it lifting on the edges. All right, and another thing about this here, another reason why you want to separate your panels is because as I was putting on my last panel, which would be the middle panel, I messed around, and you can see on this side, I messed around and attached the paper from the middle board onto that left hand side. And because it's thicker paper, you don't want to lift up on it. So I wind up having to leave it there, because moving it will for sure mess it up. I left it there and just did a slit in the center. I got my crafting tool, did a slit in the center to separate that paper. Okay, so this is another reason why you want to take these hinges off and separate the boards into 3 separate pieces instead of doing it together like I did. All right, so I'm going to suggest that. Another issue I ran into is when printing. I have my own printer at home, so I did print this off my printer at the house. With this print being so large, which is one of the largest prints I've done, I was only... So I designed this on Canva. So when I got ready to download, I downloaded as a PDF file. But I did not flatten that file. So I ran into a problem with the name. So when I went and took it over to Adobe Photoshop, and it was not until after I printed it that I realized that the name was not as it appeared when I designed it. So I wound up having to color in that R and the rest of the name, as you will see in that video. Check out that video on printing if you're having problems printing your images this large and you run into that problem. All right, but other than that, also with this here paper, it is not laminated, so you have to be, if you're getting prints that's not laminated, This is printed from an inkjet printer. You might not have problems if you're doing it from like a EcoSolvent printer. But with an inkjet printer, you have to be very careful not to scratch it, because there was some scratches that I did. That's one. So when applying your image, just be aware. As you can tell in the video, that I like to use my hands when putting on my image. A lot of people use a squeegee. I just, for some reason, like using my hands when applying it. That works best for me. Okay, so I'm gonna, I believe that's gonna be enough of that. I kind of believe I covered everything, but in the video that's coming up next, which is the full DIY video, y'all don't forget to like and subscribe. Your girl worked really hard for this. I'm out here sweating, and it looked like it's about to pull down. So I don't want to be out here getting my image and my board wet. Go ahead, check out that video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. All right, y'all, to the next one.